All right, here we have part two of 2.7. We're going to talk about general vertex form, which is y equals a times x minus h plus k. If you realize, this is like all of our changes we could make. If we go back, to all of our list of changes we can make. This is all of our changes just put into one formula. And sometimes maybe we'll have a change and sometimes we won't. Okay, but we know that our vertex is at point hk. Okay, and so we have a is the slope of the line to the right of the vertex. Okay, so if in our base form when we had just absolute value of x, technically a is 1, and that's why our slope on the right side was 1, right? And then our slope on the other side should be the opposite of that, -1. All right, so here we're not going to graph it. We're going to find the vertex, the axis of symmetry, and then the transformations that happen from the parent function. All right, so first off, we take a look at this. This formula right here. Well, first off, let's do where's the vertex at? So the vertex is at point what? Okay, so let's think about what's going on here. It goes to the right or to the left? Remember, if it's inside the absolute value, we're going opposite of what you think it should be. So we're actually going to the left 2, and then we're going to go up 3. Okay, so to the left 2 would be -2, and then up 3 would be 3. So our vertex is at -2, 3. Our axis of symmetry, that's that one. Our axis of symmetry would be at, no, it's a vertical line, right? And so it's going to go through our x-axis, and it's going to be at whatever your vertex, the x-coordinate of your vertex is, so -2 in our case. Okay, and now let's describe the transformations. And so we're going to just describe these here. We already described a couple of them, so we're going to go left 2, up 3, and now we have this -2 hanging out here. First off, it's going to be reflected, the negative reflect over x-axis. And this is just following your list that I gave you earlier. And then the 2 is bigger than 1, and so it's going to be stretched. Okay, so that's our list of transformations here. Okay, so here we have what's the graph of this one, and then what are the transformations from the parent function. Well, right away we know the negative sign out here tells us that we're going to reflect over the x, and then axis, if you're confused what I mean by that. And then 1/4. 1/4 is between 0 and 1, and so this is going to compress it. So is that what we call it? Let me check. Yep, compress it. Or squish it, right? Anytime we see a fraction, it's going to be a little bit kind of squattier than we're used to. Okay, so compress. Right, and like I said, just make a t-chart. We got our x and y, so 0. If we plug in 0, we're going to get absolute value of 0 is 0 times -1/4 is 0. Okay, so we plot our point. And if we plug in 1, then we have absolute value of 1 is 1 times -1/4 is -1/4. It's symmetrical, so then we know that -1 is also -1/4. If we plug in 2, we get 2 times 1/4 is 1/2, -1/2 in our case. And so then we know that that's symmetrical as well. Okay, so let's just count each line as a fourth. Okay, so this is 1/4. This would be a half. 0.5, 0.75, 1. Okay, so we'll just count the red lines as a half. Okay, now since we're doing each line as a quarter, then we also are going to do each line as a quarter here. So when we go to graph this thing, we're going to go over 1. So 1/4, 1/2, 3/4. Here's 1, and then we're going to go down by 1/4. Again, 1, 2, 3. Here's 1. The red lines are a half, remember. Okay, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're over to 2, and then we're going to go down to a half. 2, 3, 4, down to a half. Okay, and then we can just make our line from here. Okay, so you see how it's a lot squattier, and the negative sign flips it over the x-axis. Last one here, now we have a graph. We need to make the function. Okay, so we'll start off with f of x equals. Okay, now it's going upwards, so we know it's not negative. It is kind of squatty, and so there's going to be something out here. We move to the right 2, so how do we express that? Well, we go -2 inside the absolute value, and then we went up 1, so it's going to be +1. Okay, now our goal is to figure out, oh, what in the world is happening here, and how do we figure that out? Okay, well, we know that when we're at 4, this looks like 4 comma 1.5, and so we've gone over 2, so that's our run is over 2, and then we go from here, we're going to go up a half and over 2. Okay, so 0.5 divided by 2 would be 0.25, and so it's a little bit compressed, it's a little bit squished, and we knew that from the start. It just didn't look like a normal one. It went up a half and over 2, which is a slope of 1/4. All right, here are your practice problems.